Hey guys, so I am so excited to share with you how I edit my photos. And the first few things that we need to do is to make sure that you have downloaded these apps. So the first one is Facetune. The next one is VSCO, or Visco is another way that people pronounce it. Layout, which is the Instagram app where you are able to put photos side by side. Two other optional ones that I have used in the past, but I just needed extra space on my phone. Snapseed is fantastic. It really gives a lot more dimension to your photos if you're still getting used to taking photos. And then Perfect Video, I do use that in order to upload any of my workout videos to my Instagram, and that's what I also upload from when I get into VSCO, and I can upload my videos from there. So here's the first photo. I want to show you exactly how I edit it. It was of my girlfriend Carrie and I on her birthday, and my boyfriend took it. So here we are uploading the original photo into VSCO. And we're going to pull that up. And so I added C7, which is my filter that I chose. I noticed I was just a little darker, and since I know my filter pretty well, I know where to add saturation and where to add or take away the warmth in order to really have the blues pop. But again, this was after many times of me staring at my entire brand and figuring out what colors I want to pop and where to place the thing. So now here we're looking at this graph, and if you notice, there's 4 corners around the middle of the square. Where the eye is automatically drawn to in any photo is the 4 corners around that middle square. So you have an option whenever you do take a photo, and the best way to do this is to place that person in that line or on those 4 corners. This is called the rule of thirds in the actual photograph, but you do have the ability to edit it. So where I would put Carrie and I, if I wanted to place us in the point, if you can see, I put the point right in between us, and that would be a great spot for where to edit it if you wanted to. But since we are looking inwards instead of having us look off of the photograph, and the boat especially is facing inwards, we want to do this symmetry thing where we're walking in towards the photo versus looking outwards, like if I were to have originally cropped it on that other point of the rule of thirds. So having things looking towards the actual inside of the photo would be better. But with this circumstance, because the photo wasn't taken that way and I want the resolution to look as great as possible, I'm still just going to place us right in the middle. I'm using the 5x4 because Instagram likes 5x4 as a horizontal image, and there is the full image. So I'm going to save that. I do the actual size because it has full resolution with that. So the next photo that we're going to look at is the photo of my cousins and I when I was just recently up in Kentucky for my cousin's wedding. So we are automatically going to upload that into VSCO and look at the before and after. So that is what we're going to try and replicate again. So uploading the original photo. Import. So obviously we are going to first, before adding a filter, what we're going to do is we are going to adjust the image. And I know it probably doesn't look like there's too much, but we're going to go back to the 5x4. We're going to make sure that we are centered and squared. There's 3 people on the side, so we're going to definitely make sure that there's at least 2.5 people on the other side because of symmetry. When I asked the guy to take the photo, I asked him to put the horizon right above our heads so we wouldn't be cropped by the horizon right at our necks, which made this very great. And then if you notice, we're kind of trailing off on this left side a little bit. So I'm just going to bring her in so the bottom of our dresses are in alignment. And as we do that, as we get this centered, notice how the horizon line is crooked now. So we got to straighten that. We got to make sure that is straight. Cool. So that is straight. And then since that is all taken care of, what we get to do after that is add our filter. So we add the C7 filter and it just looks a little dark on our faces, and Snapseed could brighten that up, but I know how to do it here. So I am just going to add just a little bit of lighting to bring that yellow back instead of making it too orange. And we are good to go. So then save. And then save to camera roll actual size, and it is saving. Next photo I want to show you is a little bit more symmetry, just so you can see what I really do with the details here. Notice that in this photo I place myself between two doors. So it's symmetry, the lines are in order, I'm in the center, it's following that rule of thirds again, but also notice how the fan was disappearing back and forth between those photos, because we still got a little bit of tweaking to do in order to get those lines right and a little bit more organized. Even though you'll notice on one side of the closet is appearing more than the other one, we're going to do the best that we can, and it's still a good photo where it's at. So first things first, always edit, align, and straighten. My camera was a little tilted, so I'm going to, first of all, 4x5, forgot about that. As a vertical in Instagram, it goes by a 4x5. You can keep it normal when posting to Facebook, and that is fine, but on Instagram it is a 4x5. So 4x5 Instagram, always wanting to leave a little bit of headroom at the top, just because when you're looking at your overall style, you want to be able to see your face in the little squares. I'm moving the left side because, again, my phone was tilted, and I'm just making sure that those lines at the top are in alliance with the grid that you see. So got that skewed down, but then I noticed that things just aren't that completely straight. So I want to make sure that everything is good. And if you see, if it was an actual symmetry photo and we were getting graded for this, I would crop it there. So both sides of the closets were at the same for full symmetry, and it would look like this. But in order to stay with the 4x5 on Instagram, we got to bring it back down, keep a little bit of that headroom, and we're back to this. So after we do that, we're still on VSCO, and we're going to add the C7, just a little bit of light because it just looked a little too dark. Awesome. So there's that. We're going to save to camera roll actual size, and now I'm going to show you the second post-processing that I do in Facetune. This is going to come in handy, especially when you're promoting something that you partner with, when you're with a brand ambassador or anything Beachbody or anything like that. So let's open up. It's going to be the most current photo. Awesome. So I'm going to dive in and click details, dive in. So this was given to me by a company. Now you can see I just enhanced it a little bit more. And I'm going to come over here, enhance the energize, and also the whole entire glass, because that's from Bed Bath & Beyond. I want to tag Bed Bath & Beyond, so hopefully I can get reposted. Being reposted by larger brand companies is the best way to do what you're trying to accomplish. So that right there, that little button on the bottom right, is what you can see that changed. Also the ring, I usually increase any jewelry. And I can tag the bracelet company. These glasses are from Kenneth Cole. I always add anything to the eyelashes as well. Anything rimmed around. And then that's about it. Cool, so we're gonna save. And we are done. So just alignment and editing and doing all that fun stuff. So the next photo that we're going to look at is this one. And I absolutely love this photo. It's great, it's perfect, just the way it is. I've already applied a filter to it, but look at the difference. Non-editing, editing. Non-editing, editing. Okay, so we're gonna upload this photo to Facetune because there's already a filter on it. We already got what we want. So let's bring this into Facetune. I'm gonna show you exactly what I do in order for the main focus of the image to be more eye-catching and scroll stopping. You'll see that the background's still in focus a little bit. This was not taken in portrait mode. There's red and there's lights and just a lot of other stuff happening that doesn't need to be happening in a photo. When you take a photography class or when you go to photography school, editing is just as important as taking an actual photo, especially now because graphic design is so big these days. So I am just going to go ahead and I'm going to darken up all the stuff around me. I'm not going to darken it up too much, and please understand I'm going to do this as quickly as possible so you can just get the gist of how I work, what I do, where I move things. This is very similar to Photoshop, getting in there and actually dissecting it a lot. There's a science to it. So again, I'm getting rid of the red because I have a pink dress on, so I don't need eyes going anywhere else other than onto the main focus. People don't need to see what else is going on behind us. The focus of this photograph is of myself and my significant other. So I'm going to get rid of anything that could be distracting, especially because it wasn't taken in portrait mode. Things aren't blurred out too much from behind. So I already made things just a little darker to work with it. If you can see that difference right there, it's crazy difference. And then we have this massive white tint that's sticking out at the back of my man's neck. It's killing me. We're going to fix this. So I'm going to add a palm tree. I use the patchwork to do it. Again, this isn't going to be perfect, but I just want you all to see exactly how I just manipulate the photo a little bit more. I definitely am not trying to show that we're like the only people on the street, because that just wouldn't be natural to me, and I don't really agree with making such drastic changes in editing. But at least what I'm going to do is take away any distractions that could be happening. So again, like if you're taking a selfie in front of a mirror, having your mirror clean, having stuff around you be clean, taking things that are just in an area that's nice to look at so it's less distracting. And now look at that. All right, and then now I'm grabbing the defocus because again, this wasn't taken in portrait mode. So this is a way for you to make it look like you had a nice camera, was using portrait mode. So I'm using my finger right now and I'm swiping up and down like a vacuum and just defocusing everything behind us, as you can tell. And there's that light on the right side. I'm going to get rid of that at some point. And I get in there very close to him. And if I need to, I'm going to hit the erase tool so it doesn't look like he's blurred at all. But zoom in as close as you can, get the lines right as much as possible, get it right as if you were using a real camera. Someone just happened to snatch a photo of you at that moment in time, and then you're going to go around, and again, all in that detail. This is what I do when I'm not using portrait mode, or portrait mode isn't working because we're more than 8 feet away, or we don't have a nice camera. So we are going to get in there and still blur and defocus, and you'll be able to tell the difference between blurring and defocusing. Now I got my hat a little bit, so I'm going to erase some of that to bring it back to still create that clean line around it. I see a spot that's not blurred, so we're going to get in there. Okay. So I'm going to blur just a little bit more. And now we're going to go back up and down and still blur the side. Palm trees are going to start being blurred. I'm going to make sure that where the blur in the street is, it's going to be the same on either side. Because again, symmetry, it won't look fake that way. That's what a real camera does. And then again, we're going to get rid of this light because it's killing me. So I'm going to use tones. I pick a color on the photograph so it doesn't look like I'm just using a random black color. It actually blends in. And then I'm just going to kind of go around it and shade it. Now this is where Snapseed could come into play. Snapseed is great at this, but I enjoy doing this on here on Facetune. So I'm going to keep it there. Now I see that there's just craziness happening here and it just looks a little just distracting. So I'm going to blur it a little bit more. It looks a little fake, it looks harsh. So, and again, guys, like this is a very quick, brief overview. I'm going to defocus the very front of this photo because that is what a real camera does. It defocuses and it gives it depth of field, is what this is called. When there's something blurred in the background and you are in focus in the front, that is a depth of field. I just cleaned up his shoes a little bit so those weren't defocused. And then what I see is my arms look a little crazy pixelated, so I'm just going to smooth that out a little bit. Because when we hit the sharpen tool and things are just processed, things begin to get a little bit more pixelated, and one way to do that is by smoothing that out. But real quick, I guess I wanted to do details in my hat. Again, the jewelry. Back to the hat, that's what that looks like. I'm going to do the purse. Just brightens it up. A little bit of the shoes. So you could always tag the shoes, always get reposted. Okay, now we're going to go back to the smooth tool. So again, what I was mentioning with the arms, make sure you don't get your hair. Again, we're still trying to make this look natural, and then the legs, just running it over that. Cool. And we're good, guys. That is how you do depth of field. And look at that before and after right there. Cool, saving. All right, the next photo, a food photo. I took this in portrait mode. That is the before, and this is the after. I'm gonna show you how I did it. So this is the full process, front to back, side to side, uploading it into VSCO. It is symmetrical, it is directly in the center. There's plenty of headroom for it being a vertical photo. I'm happy with it. I'm just going to apply the filter and I'm going to save it. So there's a lot less work, guys, if we just get the photo down right the first time. So then we have Facetune uploading this photo. I'm coming in here, and what I noticed right away when I added the filter is my raspberry colors changed. So I'm going to try and bring it back to what they originally looked like. This isn't going to be perfect. I would probably do a few different shades of this color, having more time, but I'm still trying to keep this video as short as possible so you can understand. So I am picking this color. In order for this color to start working, you have to tap the screen after this. So tap the screen and it will bring you to the actual photo, and then you can start applying the color. So I will go in there and just add the color, and the cool thing is there's an erase tool. So if you color out of the lines, you can get back in there and erase it. But then you want to just continuously add. And again, in order to keep that depth and to make it not look like you really colored in raspberries, I would use different colors for this and to bring it all around. So there's, I colored in the line or colored out of the line. So I'm going to erase that, dove in there, and that's just what that looks like. And then looking at the rest of everything, the acai part and what it is, it's also Shako. It is vanilla Shako. I'm going to smooth it out because after adding that filter and the sharpening tool, it just makes it look a little aggressive. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to smooth out all the little lines of this food and just make it look more delicious. So yeah, we're going to get all the way in there, in between all the berries, in between the seeds, in between the coconut flakes, almond butter. Cool. You can see the difference now. I missed a spot. Awesome. Okay, so then the next part is details. I'm going to, jewelry always, enhance that. And then if you start with bangles and you haven't been partnering with a brand ambassador program yet, doing this and having a similar stock photo where you always take a similar photo of food, you always have some bangles on, it would make sense for you to do that frequently for people to see that you wear bangles. So people would like to reach out to you, especially if they're starting a new company. So that's the before and after. We're going to save that photo. Cool. And then the next photo. I don't really need to show you what to do with Facetune here, but this is the before and after. I just took it in a mirror. My mirror is clean, but what I did was I applied the filter, and I got in there with just the details, and I enhanced the jewelry, I enhanced my dress, I ran it over the eyelashes, and I made sure that the photo was also straight. I organized it that way, and I know there's not as much headroom that there should be, but it's still, you'll still be able to see my eyes and down when it comes into the actual image of Instagram. So this is going to be quick. I just kind of want to show you how I edit this one. This is the after, this is the before. Notice how I got rid of the car and the stop sign, because again, like the red is just distracting. It's like the sixth sense. You don't want your eyes going to other places. I got rid of the yellow line as well. I'm going to show you how I get rid of that yellow line. And so the filter's already added. So we're going to bring it, since it's vertical, we're going to go to a 4x5 image. And I am on that third line, which is great. And as much as I want to keep that headroom as much as possible in order for people to see the skateboard and the square of my image, I'm going to lower it just a little bit and then save it. Cool. So saving the camera roll, actual size, it keeps the resolution high. Now we're going to upload it into Facetune. So open recent photo, select that. And first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get in there and I am going to detail my shirt, because it is from Target. Detail the jewelry, even though it's a little blurred, there shows some action and movement in there. This gives me the capability to tag Target, hopefully get reposted, everything. I'm even going to, you can see there the before and after, still highlighting the jewelry. I'm going to highlight the lace, the bottom of the shorts, because that's the fun part. And I took this photo actually when I was doing, oh, and one thing real quick, when I was taking this photo, this was my tripod shadow. So I'm going to do tones, and I'm going to try and get rid of it because it's just not a natural thing. And I'm totally fine with changing a part of my body that's not meant to be, because I don't want people to ask me, why do I have a bruise on my leg? I don't have time for that in my inbox. So getting in there, changing it up. Again, this is fast. That's what I would do. It's not perfect, but changing things. And at the end of the day, you can always smooth it, but you never want to make it look fake. The one thing as well that I did when I took this image is this is an actual screenshot. I shot this video in 4K from my tripod, and then I took a screenshot of it, which makes this higher resolution. But what I'm going to do is get rid of these lights, because again, I don't need any more lights or red things distracting the eye. I'm going to get rid of this stop sign. And sometimes when you do that, it blurs into it a little bit. And when that happens, we want to add the hair. We'll cover over the hair and make it look a little bit more symmetrical. There's a little spot here at the bottom. We're going to make that in alignment. And you can turn these and twist these any way you need. Cool. And there's just a little bit blurry there right now. So we're going to do some details. Perfect. Yep. And the last thing is this yellow line. I'm going to get rid of it. See ya. So picking a spot that it can copy and paste with. And soon here, I'm going to want to zoom in so I can get into all the details. And that just didn't look natural, so I'm going to do it again. So here, get rid of a little bit more yellow and see how it blurs. So when it blurs, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the leg, my upper leg that's attached to the cement that doesn't have the yellow on it, and I'm going to replicate that and just bring it a little lower. And sometimes it's just a matter of playing around with it and then rotating it a little bit for it to fit. I know this might seem like a lot of editing, but guys, after you've been to photography school like this, you have to do this when you work at a magazine, you have to do this when you work at a photo studio, you have to do this when you are in promos, graphic design. Now let's look at this whole image as a whole. Just way better, more focus, more clear, clarity, all that good stuff. Cool. So let's save. All right, and one of the biggest things that I need to share with y'all is a before and after photo. Okay, so here we are, before and after photo. I want it to look like this. So the biggest thing here is I want to get my body in line with another. And I see that on the left side, it's not straight. So I'm going to straighten it. So that means going back into VSCO, doing what I can in order to make that line straight, in order to just get the best before and after photo. This is something, you know, I would love for Beachbody to use in the future. And looks like I already put a filter on. That's why it was crazy, weird, oddly bright. So I'm going to bring that left side up, straighten it, because I can just tell that the camera was at a little bit of an angle. That's the thing, like, humans have errors, and that's totally okay, but investing in a $25 tripod is always a good idea too. I can see that the top part is coming in closer, so I'm going to want to bring in the bottom a little bit because the photo was tilted. So then now we're going to want to straighten this a little bit by using these little lines that are on the image. Makes it so much more easier to accomplish. So that line on the left of the door opening is the line I'm going to go off of, because the door on the right side, even though it's crooked, it's just not straight on with the camera lens, and it's going to fisheye no matter what. All right, so we're going to upload the edited photo. And the trick here is to really get both of the bodies in alignment so people can truly see what changes have happened. So notice how there is headroom above us, just like the tiniest bit on either side. I'm centered in both. What I notice next is the shoes at the bottom aren't at the same part of the photo. So getting the shoes at the right part and then minimizing myself to still stay in alignment in the center, keeping that little bit of headspace at the top, and going from there. So people can really now look at the before on the left and the after on the right and have a good understanding of what is really going on. So saving that from layout. And now as we get into Instagram, I want to show you a trick. So since all these are saved, the only time I highly recommend really editing or cropping a photo is when the photo's already fantastic and you only added the filter. So right now I am putting myself on that third line, even though it's there. I'm putting myself on that rule of thirds onto that third line, and this is the only time I would ever really recommend using any of the tools on Instagram itself is the sharpen tool only. I wouldn't really sharpen it on VSCO. I would just keep it here, because when you upload it from VSCO onto Instagram, it's going to dumb down the resolution anyway. So just using the sharpen tool is great. And I typically I'll post a photo or have a photo and I'll just use like A or yes, and I'll save it into my managed photos. And this is how I plan out my photos for the week. I add the photo, I see what looks good, I see what's coming up. See, like, I just put yes because I don't have a quote yet. It's not Sunday, and Sunday is usually when I get in here and I'll add a quote, or I'll at least look at my calendar and be like, hey, today is a food post day, like post a motivational quote or what have you. So again, this is where I really look at my calendar and my schedule for the week. I stay organized. And this is just kind of where I save everything. So thanks, guys. I hope this really helped. And I'll talk with you.